All right, so we're officially back live here, and yeah, we were just chatting. Going to do like a little year-end recap type deal, and what the future of the podcast is going to look like 2026 and beyond, and go from there and see. So yeah, maybe we should like dive right into it.
Yeah, I think a bucket list for life is I want to say I did a podcast for at least 100 episodes, right?
Exactly. And we just
uh,
said, what was it, Steve? 63 we've released thus far.
yeah, we've done 63. And dude, it's crazy. If you look at when we started this, it was 2 years ago. Um, yeah,
So we
before
definitely could hit
Mustache Steve.
100 in yeah, right.
Yeah.
A lot
No,
of
we could
background changes.
yeah, we could definitely hit 100 next year. But I think it's just kind of like, why are we doing this? Is it just to hit that goal? What's the point? Any benefits? What do we want to talk about? I will say that I have had during a call, during a sales pitch, well, not even a sales pitch, during a business development, whatever you want to call it. And I mentioned that we had a podcast, and it really did help with bringing confidence that we know what we're talking about.
Could totally see
Um,
that.
and I think that's something that should be utilized more on the marketing side in business development. But it was one of those things that I thought was cool to see. They're like, "Oh, you do a podcast?" I don't even have no idea if they actually like clicked through and watched any of them, But they're like, "Yeah, if you're doing a podcast about marketing, you probably should know what you're
The
talking
perception
about."
of it is like you're probably pretty legit, know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and we
Yeah.
have never really pushed hard on pushing this out to our LinkedIn crowd whatsoever. I don't know if it's still something I'd want to do because I don't know. LinkedIn feels icky, like too much ego, like
I
pushing
hate it now.
through.
I know we've talked
Um,
about it before, but I just feel like there's just so much slop on that platform, and it's everybody's trying to be like, "Hey, look at me," and I don't know. There's definitely some people that share some value, but I feel like I check it like I don't know every once in a while, and I'm like, "Why did I even go back on the plat? This is like I just wasted 5 minutes." Not trying to throw shade on the platform, but it's just like it's
yeah,
not. I feel like it just turned into everybody's trying to just be like an influencer and post like once to 1 to 3 times a day type deal, and it's just like I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
all
It's
AI
not super
slop
exciting
stuff.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, like, is our audience for who wants to listen to us there? I don't think so. I really don't think so.
I think
Um,
we could lean into Twitter in the upcoming year or X, whatever you want to
mm,
call it. And
yeah,
that's one thing that I'd really like to do is I don't know if I would get verified on X. You might have to post like certain length of videos. I think you might have to. But I think I'd really like to do some more personal sharing of insights and what our agencies working on and all the type of work that we're doing and sharing clips on social. I think that's the biggest thing is like if you think about our podcast, like maybe when we first started, we shared a little bit on LinkedIn, but we really haven't done any type of promotion with it.
yeah.
It's been
X
like
might
I
be a
know it
better
lives on
audience. Yeah, interesting.
I, I know it lives on Collective 42 and it lives on
Yeah, I
your
don't
guys'
publish it
site.
all that often, but honestly, those posts, they don't get. So I originally, not to go too sidetracked, but I originally said, hey, let me embed this post, take the transcript, nothing the transcript, like a summary, and I put it in there. I'm like, oh, maybe it'll like ping for certain traffic coming into the website for like embedding the video with some text. Dude, it does not drive any traffic. If anything, it's probably shallow pages on the website for it all. So it's one of those things where like if I do publish it, I got to be mindful, like, do I want it indexed or not? So it's not really a big SEO play. It could be a negative thing, but it does visually add to the site when you do go
Yeah.
to our part. So that's another benefit too on that side. But the X is interesting. I do think there is a stronger community of real people on X having digital marketing conversations.
No doubt about it.
And maybe it comes down to how are we going to do that? We're just going to use like, dude, I've got my own personal profile. You use your own personal profile. I don't think we need to have a profile that's the collective. I
I
don't
think
know.
it would
I don't
just be
think that.
personal profile sharing. Yeah,
Yeah, at that
100%.
point, would we? And I'm not sure how X works as far as like video pushing. Like, do we syndicate the video through X as its own video, or do we just link to the YouTube channel? Like, what do people do at that point? I think most people probably use YouTube. They don't like use the X embed or like X
Well, I'm
video.
thinking like how you have and I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast before, but like typically like I will do like the full podcast upload and then Steve will do clips and then post those on
Yeah,
YouTube
yeah,
Shorts. We probably just download those clips. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's not even like sharing the full episode on Twitter, but sharing clips and then having people then check out because I'm pretty sure I have it linked in my bio on
Do
X
you see
already.
other people that have podcasts that share clips, or they share the whole length?
Usually clips, but
Interesting.
the one idea that I did have that I think would be interesting. Do you know like the TBPN podcast?
Mm-mm.
Like they're I think they're both venture capitalists. They're younger guys and they wear suits and they literally they go live like 3 days a week. And I
On
feel like they
X,
like really go, yeah. So they go live on X
that'd be
three
fun.
days a week.
I'd love to do a live one.
So that's what I think we could do is I think we could probably I don't we would have to figure out the infrastructure, but I think we could like go live on X for the podcast and then record it and then upload it the full version on YouTube as well. So then it would live in both places. Like it would live on X live and then I think once
Yeah,
it's live, it would get uploaded there automatically and then we would also put it on YouTube. I
yeah,
think that would be really cool to do in the new year here. Um,
yeah. Okay, I'm cool with that. I think that makes sense. I think we need to make a list of these things, or they not, or it's not going to happen. Just heads up. Like we should probably like just get an email after this with some of these items.
Agreed. And like do like a little
Uh,
project management to it.
yeah, for sure. Because I think it's important to do that.
We could also just do like a little base camp project, you know, and just
Yeah,
have like the pod set up and then just have like, you know, dates of when things are going to get posted and clip sharing there and everything. I think that could be a
yeah, I
simple
could
way
do
to
that.
manage this.
Me, I'm add a to-do list to your podcast on my side. So we talked about setting up Basecamp, and then we can add our to-dos there. But talking about those to-dos that we could put up, we're talking about sharing on X. We're
Sharing
talking
clips on
about
X and then also going live on X and sharing and doing like the full podcast there. And then
yeah,
still uploading the full podcast on like what we've done thus far is YouTube and Spotify.
yeah. So here's the thing about the clips, dude. Like I've got an alternative view on it. And maybe it's not the right view, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. Like the shorts are interesting. They get views on YouTube, but I don't think it's like the right views. And we don't really have like I don't know, our shorts and the topics that we talk about aren't really the shit that people look at on views
That's
for like
fair.
YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt about it.
Um, it's like, oh, you get a couple hundred views, and it's like, I think some of the highest ones like AI takeovers, or God, yeah, I think that's probably like the highest one that we had. It's like, but is it really adding value to it? Because I think we're just doing it to try to get viewership, and it's like, cool, that's one way to drive it, but it's like, is it qualified? So instead of doing clips, I wonder if we just link to the minute mark on the X post that we share.
I like
I
that.
don't know because it's like it's not like it embeds in it and it has the clip and you ingest it right on X. I don't think. Well, maybe it does, but I don't know. Maybe getting away from that short form content because I don't know. Maybe then it was expose them to watch them more. Maybe it's me just being lazier, not wanting to have to create the clips. But I'm like, what did the clips do for us this year? It's interesting little bites, but it's like, why not just link to the minute mark? You start talking about it, and it's not so short form edited out, and it's like, I don't know.
I think if there's quality clips, I do think there's probably value to posting on shorts just to get like a little, you know, awareness there. But I
Yeah,
totally hear you. Like totally hear you on
we
that.
can run the clips, see what happens, because the generator does get sometimes good clips, but a lot of times it's not. It's like, I'm just fucking making shit because it gave a clip and it's not super entertaining. So maybe only
Totally.
like quality clips we share. And then outside of just sharing, maybe just being more active on X than LinkedIn. Like I would actually be curious what happens if because the only thing I've done on LinkedIn this last probably year, maybe
Just
last
memes.
8 months. Just fucking stupid memes. No context, only hashtags. Like either you fucking get it or you don't. Maybe I need to start pushing that on X because it'll have more of a feed because there's not honestly nothing really happens. Or maybe I could just
Yeah.
publish to both and kind of see what happens. Like if I publish on that, like I could do it on my X profile. Like I don't have dude, I don't even know who the hell follows me on X. My profile's old though. That's the one thing I do have. Let's see. Let's see. And it's funny because it's my old handle of I'm not a doctor. But that's dude, this it's nerdy, but it's like what people used to do. How the hell do I look at my account page? This is yeah, I don't even use X. Like, I mean, look at X, but like profile. Is that it? Yeah. When is this thing established? Yeah, 2007.
That's amazing. I hate to say it. I got on X or Twitter at the time. I think it was like, I don't know, 2009 or 10. And then that was during college, and we just like would always have like odds are, and you just like dare people. Like I had just had so many nonsense tweets that I ended up just deleting the profile and starting new in like 2020 or something like that. So I'm like, there's so much nonsense out here that like I'm actually scared of eventually being judged in like a professional setting. And it was yeah. So I started a fresh one.
Yeah, I get it. I get
You
it.
know,
Who knows who's on my shit, but whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, dude, I've got a massive following of 487 people.
nice. That's solid.
Not really, but I don't
I
really
think
know.
I think maybe a couple other things too about the pod. I think
What do we want to talk about, right? I think that was a topic that, like, the topic of the topic.
exactly. I honestly think like I think we could probably do a little better job of topic ideation or like that's the one thing that I think I appreciate about certain pods of like, like all in, I feel like is pretty hit or miss anymore. But I think the one thing I do appreciate about that is like they have a topic and each person clearly has talking points. So I'm not saying like go in there scripted, but like
Yeah,
there was
I
some
get it.
thought that went into these topics. And I feel like riffing on a podcast is like good for sure, but I also think we need to have like a little bit of like a direction of like, all right, this podcast we kind of want to hit on like this topic or like these general topics, and then we have an idea of like what we're gonna. I think we do a good job of that, but I also think there's some pods where it's like no idea what we're going to talk about before, and then it just turns into like AI and like what your thoughts on like if AI is going to be good or bad, basically. So I think that's the second piece as well is I don't know. I want to hear your thoughts, Steve, but like I kind of want to make it more of like a digital marketing focused. Um, you know, obviously, but I think like, what's working, what's not working, digital marketing, tests that we're running, channels that we're running, those types of things. And I think we could weave in AI throughout it. But I think that could be a really interesting um, focus for us is like, if you're in digital marketing right now, if you're a CMO, like those types of things, like this is content that like you'd actually want to consume. And I think AI has its place in there, but I think we probably leaned in a little too heavily into AI in like that general topic there. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was a big AI year, so for sure. But that's kind of what, if we didn't have things to talk about, AI was something easy to talk about. It, I think, is
No
your
doubt.
point. So, and I think part of the podcast too is like just fucking hit record and let's just see what happens. And maybe it's just out of laziness of like, or maybe apprehension of like, I don't know what to talk about. Like, am I just gonna have to like really poke out some topics? And it's like, why are we even doing a podcast? Because we're just covering the news stories that we saw on Stack Marketer. It's like, is that really productive? Is it less is more? Like, do we have enough to talk about of value every week to get there? I think we could talk every week for an hour easily, which we did.
Easily.
But it's like, do we need to be a little bit more concrete on some of the topics? I think so. I think we could, come to the table. Maybe it's something that we utilize Basecamp for to have just a rolling list of ideas or like, hey, here's possible agenda on and nothing crazy. It's like three topics and then about digital marketing. I do think it's still okay to have something maybe towards the end that's I don't know, not digital marketing either,
Lifestyle
because I
related
think
type stuff.
yeah, man. Whatever. Like, what the hell are you up to? Like, oh, did you go run a marathon or did you go hunting or just to bring a little bit of other things to talk about?
I
Because
think that helps the brand and people connect to like actually listening of like, okay, there's like some value alignment here and some other interest of supplements and workouts and,
sure.
all of those types of things.
Yeah, because I think even it's like running your own business is part of like digital marketing, like as your entrepreneurship. I think that we could lead because as much as it's digital marketing, I think it can be entrepreneurial stuff as
Agreed.
well. Like it's just not
Agreed.
all like that because I think there are some I don't know if we're doing it right, but I'll express what we're doing, you know, on that side of things. Um, so I think maybe it's a mix of like digital marketing, entrepreneurship on the podcast as main topics, and then you know I think that entrepreneurship kind of leads into lifestyle stuff too, um,
Completely agreed. And I
as
think the one
well.
other thing too that we've chatted about as well is I think we could probably get a little more intentional with like outreach for guests and trying to bring on some
Yeah, I guess
guests.
they're so easy because they get to talk and it fills half the air. To be honest,
Exactly. But I think
there
like
are
trying to be
models
intentional
out
of
there
like
that are just people just like, hey, try to solicit guests just so they talk. It's like the craziest model for their podcast. Like they just solicit random people. They don't care who it is. They get on
I've
the
gone on
podcast.
one.
Yeah, I've done one too,
Like
and
a
it's like, am I just getting robbed here?
yeah, it felt weird. I was like, I kind of regret doing this because it's like 12-minute conversation. It was like, huh, you record about like 9 of these a day, and then you just like release a podcast every
It's just
day,
junk.
and
Yeah.
it's just like nonsense slop. So I definitely don't want to do that, but I think it could be like I thought the Will Reynolds podcast that we did was sick because it was like a really legit person. We're both
Yeah.
interested to talk to him and
Yeah, dude, some of the
relevant topics.
deep dives that I did with Leon on SEO stuff, like,
That was an
dude, if you
awesome
crack into
episode.
some of that stuff, it's like, oh wow, you guys are super uber nerds. So I think we should have a goal of, and I'll put this in the base camp stuff, is like a guest once a month.
Yeah, like of 25% of episodes, 15,
Yeah,
20% of
that's
episodes.
yeah, or yeah, 20% of episodes, 20-25%. I think that makes sense. I think we have enough people in our network that would, be valuable to bring on. And we can say, hey, man, this is about digital marketing and entrepreneurship because I think most of the people that we bring on have had some sort of side gig, run their own shit, etc. that could contribute to it. If not, no worries. It's mostly digital marketing. And then we can kind of pepper around like, dude, so because like the lifestyle thing I think is important because like we don't work to live or whatever the hell that saying is. It's like, but there's so many like critical thing like lifestyle that helps you be motivated with work and life in general that it should be talked about where a lot of times it's not. you know
It's all
how do you
intertwined
get
there.
up how do you get up every day and be motivated to log into these fucking computer screen and sit in for 8 hours?
I'm probably going to say something, pretty obvious here, but I've definitely noticed um, like when you're on a health kick, meaning like being sober, basically, like you're not, having beverages
Sure.
throughout the week and stuff like that. Um, dude, like your motivation level is so much higher. Uh, you're going to get a great night of sleep. You're going to wake up way more energized. It's much easier to get out of bed, and it's much easier to focus. So I think like that is such like those types of things are like really really cool to like share with other people because I think a lot of other people are like thinking about that type of stuff. And like again, if you're I wouldn't say like a high performer, but like if you're trying to be an entrepreneur and have a side hustle or build a business, like it's pretty important that you're considering your health here.
Yeah, man, or just enjoying the quality of life, whatever that means monetarily or just being able to be in your own head, etc. Yeah, I think so too. So okay, let's have that in as a topic. Um, you know, Depending on if Ricardo wants to join or has the availability, he can be sliced into these two to even have a little bit more of a round table on it
Like
all.
that.
Or if there's someone else, Shane wants to jump on, or if we got someone that wants to be more of a reoccurring guest, just because, and maybe they can use like, hey, I'm on a podcast, dude. I have got no corners, dude. There can be 3 other people on this thing. I don't give a shit
Yeah,
as long
same.
as we're all
I'm right there
topic.
with
Like,
you.
dude, like, we're just like we like to sit and chat for an hour, half hour to an hour. I think the length of a half hour to an hours, I think is a sweet spot because I think you could discover quite a bit. But I don't think we need to fluff it, to hit that mark. Or if it goes over, it goes over. It makes sense. But I think that's a consumable length of stuff. But I think that's good, and we can really start this off next year. But I can get the base camp going on that.
All right, cool. Let me ask you, um, is there anything else you want to cover on like that topic
No,
there?
no.
Is there anything? All right. So is there anything like I don't know, since we've last recorded a podcast, is there anything like new that like you're really into? Like any topics that you're really into or anything health wise or lifestyle wise or anything you're thinking about? Anything along those lines. I know it's like very open ended. I have a thought.
Well, why don't you go ahead and it sounds like you wanted to say something. So I think yeah, maybe there's I could piggyback off of that.
I think yeah, I don't know. I think this is like an interesting topic that I think people would probably relate to of like, we just lived through COVID and that was crazy times and now like AI's here and like who knows what happens with the future of AI and everything.
Okay.
Um I think one thing I've actually really like gotten into as of late is like prepping and like the whole topic of and I feel like we probably touched on this a little bit. Um I don't know. I'm just like really fascinated with being prepared in case anything were to happen and being self-reliant and resilient. And like that was a big reason why my wife and I moved out of the city. Is felt like a little like we had a townhome and we are in the city and I'm like, dude, if anything were to go wild, like we have no ability to grow food here, like a lot of humans in a really close vicinity to one another, resources are really slim. So I don't know. We've been kind of like going down the rabbit hole of that. And I think it's interesting. I think like years ago it would have sounded like a little like woo woo kind of topic and like you're a little psycho and a little crazier. Um and I think like History Channel used to have like a prepper show and like all those people just seemed like just so like out there. But now when again when you go through like COVID and you go through AI and stuff, it's been really top of mind of like hmm, if things got shut down for a little bit, like how would we make food? What would our power sources be? How would we collect water? How would we protect our home? Like those
Yeah.
types in our family, like those types of things. Um, I don't know. It's been like really top of mind. And I feel like we chatted about like ham radios and like that type of stuff on here.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. Like all of those,
So
it's just a fascinating topic.
I do agree that has been a topic post COVID that has um, been more accepted. Before you'd look like you're a crazy person,
You're a
you know.
weirdo. Yeah.
I've always been a weirdo, and so it's been on my mind for a long time, always. So I just dropped a link to a book that is a very good book to read. It's actually by Mike Glover. He's
Did you put
a
it in Slack?
former. Yeah, no, I actually put it in the chat on this.
Oh, nice, nice.
But yeah, read it. It's really, the audiobook's awesome. I only read audiobooks pretty much, but it might be a book that you get so you have, because that's also an asset. That's good. I actually have here. I haven't read through the whole thing, but another book, The Meat Eater Guide to Wilderness and
Is that Steve
Skilled
Rinella?
Survival. Yeah, it's Steve Renella's book. It's really good,
Nice.
dude. It's got like crazy illustrations on stuff, like and like super good, like just it covers everything that you'd ever want in outdoors, but it's very applicable to prepping. I haven't read the whole thing, but it's a resource that if shit happens, you could pull out. So as far as dude being on the prep train, I definitely think that there's a certain kind of grade or level of things of prepping to where there's a steep curve that happens. So over here is nobody prepping, right? How many days you're going to last? You're going to last like 3 days, like max, if something horrible happens, right? You're going to go with what resources you have in your house, which is not really prepared at all. Maybe only 1 or 2 days, right? And then you get to the point where you start prepping and you have stuff. And that's kind of where I am at, where it's like, dude, I've got a backup generator that can run off. I've got like 3 propane tanks at all times, like filled up most of the time. So if I can run off of that, I've got the ability to pull gas out of my truck or my cars. Like I've got tools to do that. So I'm like, oh, those are my backup fuel supplies. Thinking my truck holds like 26 gallons of gas. Shit, it's the fan. I can use that to run generator, etc. I got 2 coolers. I have firearms as need be. I do have backup. I've got some old school army rations, and I have a decent amount of food stored up. I didn't have,
You got the
you know,
venison in the freezer.
yeah, they got the freezer stuff going on there. Try to buy in bulk on stuff, but I don't have like a shelf full of. I mean, I do have some shelf stuff, but like I'm not cycling through and having like a full on bunker resources. I mean, I do have water in here, so I'm like I'll last maybe 2 to 3 weeks, right? But to go from 2 to 3 weeks to months is a whole nother level where
That's what
that
I've
becomes
been
a
realizing.
hobby and
Yeah.
that becomes a hobby. So it's like I feel better with my family. Like, hey, I'm gonna last longer than a normal person. We'll see where this leads. But to get to the next part, it's like, dude, I got to build like a dry cellar into the wall. here and have it all stocked, cycle things through. And that's a lifestyle that you live. And it's very, very different than like being somewhat prepared. Like I got my communication stuff that I could do, etc., with ham radio. And just getting to that point, you feel a lot better about yourself. And that's something I think you can journey to and get to. But then like that next level of prepping, like that's that's just a jump, dude. It's like if you're gonna go run, you can run 5 miles, awesome, no big deal. But then it's like go try to run a marathon. That's a whole nother situation.
No doubt about it.
So that's
I
my
also
prepper take.
I think that's really cool, and I think that's a really good framing of it. And I don't know. I think there's probably like a lot of good lessons in there as well. Like I feel like that's a good like maturing self development type stuff of like knowing how to operate a generator, knowing whatever, like all of these different thinking through some of those scenarios. And I don't know. I feel like you'd really start to learn a little bit more about yourself and just random stuff that you probably would have never
Dude, just
learned.
being reliant, man. Like, and I think
Yeah,
here's the thing. I feel like there is a thirst or a hunger mentally for humans, and probably most likely for males, or males, to be honest. I
yeah,
could be,
yeah.
be completely wrong, but it's like you want to be able to be reliant or looked upon that you can do things and be protective of your flock, per se. And so people that get so used to just the daily conveniences that are around every single, like you just pick up your phone and you get anything you want, and it just makes it so easy. That's new. That's super new to us. And so if you start to do things that are on the prepper line, like dude, if you've got a garden, like gardening, that's something that's super natural to humans, and you feel better, you feel like more connected, and you have a little bit less ease or stress in your mind. Even operating a generator, like I'm not sure how to do that, and you have to go through that, and you learned a new skill set, but then you feel comfortable
Exactly.
with it, etc. Or you learn how to fish, and it's like every time you learn how to fish, everything is not going to be you catch a fish every single time. It's difficult to do, and you kind of learn upon it. But there's something like primal that's normal that we're really good at actually doing that I think your body craves. Yeah, like it craves those types of things, and a lot of people don't do those things, and I think that's why maybe um, they're maybe not as balanced in life. But I think it's
Absolutely.
important.
Yeah, and
It's hard.
I think that was again very well said. And I think it's like through that process, you're going to learn a whole lot of things that you probably would have never have before. And I think that's probably really important to keep, mentally healthy of just constantly like being curious about other things that you might not have and learning and teaching yourself new things. I think that's really cool. Um,
Yeah, dude. No, and it comes down to too, like even on the prep, it's like no one, and I think COVID showed it to everybody. It showed it to me where like I was a little skeptic, and then I was like, okay, fully skeptic on certain things. No one's gonna save you. Like no
no,
one is gonna
exactly.
save you. It's as simple as like, hey, your truck or your car, and you need to go get maintenance done to it. It's not going to magically happen. You have to make the appointments to maintain that vehicle. It's the same thing in your life and other things. Like no one is going to say, "Hey, here's free water, here's free food. We're going to go ahead and protect you." It's like it's just not going to happen. It gets not there, and I think not knowing that safety blanket's there freaks a lot of people out. Like it really, really does. And it's not saying like, oh, you're going to be completely self-reliant and perfect, but it's like having some grasp versus none. That fills up your anti-anxiety like ammo like a jabillion times. You're like, okay, I feel
Exactly.
better about it. It's like, dude, if my power goes out right now, it's like, cool. I know I got probably like 2.5 tanks of propane if I want to go propane as an alternative. Like, dude, we're good for a while, if need be, and I can keep things running on certain things. But it's scary at first, but then you kind of figure it out. But at least you have an option. You're like, oh fuck, we're fucked. you know,
100%.
like who are you gonna call if your phone doesn't work and you're gonna call? You're just gonna sit there and freak out. You know. So I don't,
So say if shit were to hit the fan, you think Starlink would still work,
yeah,
right? Because like it's all
yeah.
satellite based.
It's all satellite based. I'm not sure what sort of processing is done on Earth on
On Earth to
electrical
keep it
grids
rolling.
or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're out there, solar powered, etc. So I'm not sure how much. I mean, you're still going to have power to turn on to talk to the satellite.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
just going to need a generator of some sorts
you
or
need a
some type of
generator,
thing.
you
Yeah.
need battery bank power stuff too. Yeah, so that would be interesting to have and know about. But yeah, man, I think it's a progression of life too as you start to become like more self sustained, and as you kind of grow into understanding as you're getting older. As you're becoming, because you're already an adult, but it's like as you're becoming an older adult, you realize like, dude, most people like your parents or your uncles, people that you looked up to, they all had it figured out, right? No, you realize they didn't.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, I'm this person now, so I should probably start figuring some shit out because that kind of, I don't know what you call it, um, disguise or mirage of like, oh, they've got it figured out, everything's gonna be fine. Dude, when that breaks through, you're like, oh shit, you really are. You're really by yourself on
No
it
doubt
all.
about it.
And I think that just comes with time and maturity that you get to realize that. Um, and sometimes it comes a lot earlier for individuals uh, that maybe didn't have the best, you know, upbringing, etc. To where like that shattered dream of reality, it's like, no, reality is a really different space.
Gets real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end it there. I think that I'm
Okay,
glad I
cool.
brought it up because I feel like I knew you had a good take on that, and
I got a take. We'll see if it's good or not, but yeah.
I'm definitely gonna download the ebook there. I just took that one.
Yeah, so get like the audiobook, it's super good. And then yeah, I'm sure he's got down. I'm not sure what's actually in the book as far as like any sort of diagrams or anything like that, but it's a good one. But yeah, man, I'm stoked for the
Cool.
podcast. I think it's a good goal.
Same.
We'll get this one pushed out, and then I think yeah, being on X will be interesting to see. Well, first being organized in Basecamp, that'll be a good start. Sharing on X will be interesting to see how things go there and interacting a bit more. Um, I think I'm really excited to see what sort of response we get on X, even if it's like
Same.
conversation, etc. I was like, oh,
Plus, I mean,
okay,
regardless, I feel like this is similar to the conversation we just had. It's going to be a good learning experience either way, of like
yeah,
what worked,
this,
what didn't work. It's a whole new platform, whole new process that we're going to implement and that type of thing. So, I think regardless, it'll be a good learning experience
yeah, and it is us being vulnerable. Like, dude, we're not experts at everything. Maybe we'll say
for
something
sure.
that someone's not going to like, etc. And we'll deal with it all. But it's like I do think it's useful because I don't feel like a lot of people talk about these things the way that we do, to a certain extent, or like at least confirming, like, oh, there's someone else that kind of hearing 30% of what we say. That sounds like us. That's helpful to know that's out there and provide that.
Agreed.
So cool. All
This
right,
is a
man.
good
We'll
one to
call
end
it.
2025. So we'll release, I guess, the next one in 2026, and
Yeah. See
then
you
keep
next
it
year.
rolling all year. Yeah. All right, folks. Catch you next year.